Hi y'all! Well, I am back for another video, and as promised, this video starts my series, My Favorite Things on the Appalachian Trail. I finished my 2020 Appalachian Trail thru hike a little over a month ago, and I've been wanting to start this series where I give you the things on the trail that I would consider my favorites. Everything from hostels to restaurants to towns, gear, everything. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite hostels and hotels. I stayed in 26 hostels along the Appalachian Trail. One of the things that I looked for when going into town and staying in a hostel or a hotel was that the place was clean and bug-free. And for the most part, it was that way my entire hike. But these particular hostels stand out a little bit more because they encompassed pretty much everything that a thru hiker could need to make their hike more enjoyable. For the most part, I had nothing but good experiences at all of the hostels that I stayed at on the AT. These were just some of my personal favorites. So these hostels are not in any particular order, but I am going to go in order from starting south and going north. Starting in the south, the first hostel on my fave list is Chica Sunset's Hostel. It's located in Franklin, North Carolina, and it's run by Jen and Greg Seymour, also known as Chica Sunset. They thru hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2017. It opened last year in 2020, a few weeks before I actually got there. Their hostel is actually the lower portion of their home, and it has its own private entrance. It is a co-ed hostel. They have 4 beds, 4 twin beds, 2 rooms, so there's no bunks. It is a small hostel, but that keeps it intimate and allows them to give you the most comfortable and best experience possible. Currently on their website, I went to look to see what the cost is as of 2021, and it's $50 per person, and that includes laundry, which includes the soap, and it is a laundry where you can do it yourself, which I personally prefer. They do have a great selection of loaner clothes. It includes shower with all the toiletries. They have shampoo and conditioner and plenty of it, which is important for someone like me with long hair. The water pressure of their shower was absolutely amazing. You felt like you were getting a massage. They also have incredible Wi-Fi. In fact, I would say that they had the best Wi-Fi of any hostel on the Appalachian Trail. It was pretty amazing. And if you're a YouTuber and you're going to be uploading videos, I was able to upload, I think, like 6 videos in like a couple hours. It was pretty amazing. They do serve breakfast. At the time that I was there, I was fortunate enough to get to have the full breakfast that Chica makes. She is an amazing cook. Now with COVID, it did change how they serve breakfast, and now it is a continental breakfast, but from what I have heard from other hikers, it is still a delicious, amazing breakfast. They will pick you up at the trail and take you back to the trail. They will take you in town for a resupply to go eat at one of the restaurants downtown. The hostel has plenty of outlets so that you can make sure you can charge all of your electronics easily. They have like a little living space that has a massage chair, which was pretty nice to relax in. They have a full kitchen, which has some frozen foods that you can purchase. They have coffee, unlimited coffee there. And Chica makes jewelry, and her and Sunset have also written books, so they have those for sale as well. But overall, Chica Sunset's was just a great place to stay. I actually ended up taking a 00 while I was there. I enjoyed it so much. The next hostel that is on my list is located in Flag Pond, Tennessee, and it is called Nature's Inn Hostel and Cabins. And this hostel had laundry, which also included the soap. You could do it yourself. It had loaner clothes, showers with the toiletries, shampoo and conditioner. It had a full kitchen, a common area with a full kitchen you could utilize. They even had like a small resupply available, as well as like snacks and things you could purchase to eat at while you're there. They do pick you up at the trailhead and take you back to the trailhead. So they do have a bunkhouse, but for me, when I was there, and what I would recommend to someone who wants to stay here, is they have private little cabins that are right on the creek, and they were so cute. They were so nice, and actually you can accommodate more than one person in it. It has a bunk style bedding. They had screen-in porches and like little hammocks that you could lay in. And that is one of the things I loved the most, I think, about staying there, was that was the only hostel on the trail where I had a little screened-in porch that was on the river and had a hammock, and I just really enjoyed that. That was $50 for the private cabin, and I think it was like $35 for the bunk. So I just personally recommend the cabin. And like I said, it is one of the reasons why it is on my favorites list, was the little cabin with the screened-in porch. It does have Wi-Fi. Honestly, I do not remember if it was good Wi-Fi or not, but there was Wi-Fi available. Another fave hostel on my list is Angel's Rest Hiker Haven. It is located in Pearisburg, Virginia, and it is owned by Dr. Pippa Chapman. I had the opportunity to meet her at one point when she was shelving to the trail. She's a super nice lady and loves hikers. Angel's Rest is a pretty popular hostel on the Appalachian Trail, particularly in Virginia. They have a barn that has this really beautiful painted angel wings on the side, and a lot of hikers will take their pictures there. I think it's kind of an iconic spot along the trail. But the hostel in of itself has pretty much everything you can need as a thru hiker. They have laundry facilities, and it includes the soap. It is a do-it-yourself laundry, which I like. Of course, nice showers with the toiletries with shampoos, conditioners. They do have loaner clothes. They have a pretty good hiker box. They do have Wi-Fi. They have bunks available or private rooms. The hostel is actually located very close to a grocery store. It's only like 0.2 of a mile away. There's also a couple of restaurants that are within walking distance. They will pick you up at the trail and take you back to the trail. They also offer slack packing, which I took advantage of while I was there. They have a full kitchen and a common area for anyone that stays there. And so you have use of that. They do have coffee available, that you can have coffee whenever you want. They have TV with Netflix and movies, all kinds of movies available to watch. You can also tent there, so you don't necessarily have to pay for a bunk room. You can tent, and it's like $12 to tent. And it's a very just nice open area. When I was there, I was the only hiker. So I kind of had the whole place to myself for the most part. And even though I was there by myself, I really enjoyed my stay there. But one of the things that made this one of my favorite hostels was the people. The lady who manages the property and helps out Dr. Pippa Chapman is Pringles. She is also a thru hiker, and that's her trail name. And Broccoli Rob, who does the shuttling and things there, who is also a past thru hiker. They helped me out so much while I was there. I mean, they just kind of bent over backwards to make sure that I was taken care of, that I got to the trail. Like I said, I chose to do some slack packing while I was there just to kind of help me get down the trail quicker. And even though there was several days of snow and ice, Broccoli Rob and Pringles both took time out to take me back to the trail, even when I honestly don't think I would have driven in that kind of conditions. But they were just super nice, so helpful to me. Another hiker named Phoenix also helped me out a couple days and took me to the trail when it was snowing. I cannot be more appreciative and in awe of them. They just really care about hikers, and they just love the hostel, and they just made my stay there amazing. So they were definitely one of the things that made Angel's Rest just such an amazing experience, and I'm very thankful for them. So this next hostel that's a fave on my list, one of the reasons it's a fave is because of the location of where it's at. The name of the hostel is Kind of Outdoorsy Hostel, and it's located in Duncannon, Pennsylvania. You walk right through the town, so it's right on the trail. The only other place to stay in Duncannon is at the Doyle. That is an older hotel, so a lot of hikers don't necessarily stay there. They just they might go through and then just keep going through town. But if you're going into Duncannon, I highly recommend this hostel because, like I said, first and foremost, it is right on the trail. So you don't have to worry about shuttles or anything like that. It's $25 for a bunk. It is just a bunk room hostel, so there is no private space. But for $25, you get the bunk room. It is very clean. They actually have a cleaning service that came in every single day and cleaned it really well. And although they do not have laundry on premises, the laundry is very close by. It's like a block away. It's really close. They do have loaner clothes though. They have really nice showers. They had all of those toiletries, the shampoos, the conditioners. You don't have to buy any of that. One of the other things I loved a lot about it is there's a gear shop. So basically the hostel is in the back of an outfitter, and the outfitter was pretty awesome. They had a lot of items that if you were to need, you could pick up there, including fuel. They actually had quite a bit of a resupply. So you could actually do your resupply there if you wanted to. And they also do the Darn Tough exchange. The owner is so nice, and that means a lot to a hiker when you're staying at a hostel, is how the owners and how the people running the place treat you. And he was super nice. But yeah, I was able to exchange out my Darn Tough socks. I didn't even have to wash them or anything. I just was able to give them to them. That's pretty cool. They had one of the best hiker boxes I ever saw on the whole trail. It had everything, like food, gear, supplies. I was really impressed with how good of a hiker box they have. They also have Wi-Fi and coffee available, like pretty much whenever you want it. And I know I always mention the coffee because I didn't always have coffee when I was on the trail, just because of the time it took to make the coffee and then sit around drinking it. So when I would go into town, I always wanted coffee because I love my coffee. And you're able to get into the hostel with an access code, so you can kind of come and go as you want whenever. You don't have to, there's not like certain hours, so to speak. But yeah, it was a pretty great hostel and definitely worth a stop in Duncannon. Another fave hostel was located in Shelburne, New Hampshire, and it's called Rattle River. It is a pretty popular hostel stop on the AT, particularly in New Hampshire. And in fact, it's considered to many a vortex. When a hiker refers to something being a vortex, it means they get sucked into it and it's hard to leave. So I ended up, staying there like 4 days total, 4 or 5 days total, not in a row. I went back out to the trail and then came back. But they have bunk rooms available as well as private rooms, or you can tent. And I did not write down I have my little notes. I did not write down the cost. I believe it was pretty inexpensive. I want to say a bunk room was like maybe $25 or something. I don't honestly remember right now, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty inexpensive. I did stay in a bunk at the Rattle River. They offer shuttles, so they will come pick you up at the trail and take you back to the trail. They offer slack packing. They do like 2 or 3 times a day. They do a run for resupply or to the post office. And the resupply was to Walmart. And that's always a benefit. I will say that's probably one of my favorite things about staying there, was being able to go resupply at Walmart. As a hiker, as a thru hiker particularly, Walmart is like the best place to go for resupply, if not a Dollar General, just because it's inexpensive and you pretty much have your pick of whatever you want to take on the trail. Of course, they have showers and toiletries available, so you have all, shampoos, conditioners, all there. And the way that they do their setup is you come in, they have like this foyer area, you could call it, and that's where you hang your packs. So the packs never went into the building, which helped keep the inside of the house extremely clean, which was really nice. They, of course, have coffee pretty much available to you to make at any time of day. And then they also had make your own pancakes. So they had pancake mix available where you could pretty much make your own pancakes. They, of course, had Wi-Fi. They had TV with like tons of movies available to watch. And they had like cornhole and things like that outside. They had a really nice fire pit that they lit up every night and had these like lights strung up. And I just really enjoy that. That to me that was very memorable. I'm not one to kind of spend a lot of time with a lot of other hikers. I kind of keep to myself a lot, but it was still nice to kind of have the opportunity to sort of just mingle a little bit with other hikers. Fire, I feel, for whatever reason, brings people together. So that was one of my other favorite things about this particular hostel, was that the fire pit and the really cool lights. Of course, they do have a full kitchen available, so you're able to buy food and then cook it there if you don't want to go into town to eat. The next fave hostel is actually one of the oldest hostels on the Appalachian Trail. It's been around for 4 decades. And that's Shaw's Hiker Hostel. It's located in Monson, Maine, right before, if you're headed northbound, it's before you enter the 100-mile wilderness. If you're headed southbound, it is right after you leave the 100-mile wilderness. It is run by Kimberly and Jared Hester, also known as Hippie Chick and Poet. They thru-hiked the trail in 2008. And I believe they've been running the Shaw's Hiker Hostel since 2015. They offer slack packing. They have shuttles that will come pick you up at the trailhead and take you back to the trailhead. It is close to town, so you can actually walk to restaurants, to the post office, to go get resupply if you want. Although they do have resupply on the premises, and it's actually a really good resupply. They also have a gear shop, and it is probably one of the best gear shops on the trail. They have pretty much everything you could need. I would say clothing would be the least thing they have, but for the most part, gear-wise, they had pretty much everything. They had a lot of stuff. They have, of course, laundry available with the soap. They, of course, have loaner clothes, showers with all the toiletries. They have Wi-Fi. And another thing that was a favorite of mine was breakfast. The breakfast is available for a little bit of additional charge, but it was an amazing breakfast. It was so good. They have a common area with a refrigerator, so you can put that was a common theme, at least especially for me, is sometimes you would want to go, like if you would go into town to resupply, you might get a few things to have to eat back at the hostel, so you didn't have to spend money at a restaurant, and you wanted to be able to have a place to put your cold stuff. So it's always nice to have a refrigerator available. Another very important thing, if you're about to enter the 100 mile, is a food drop. So if you're going into the 100 mile wilderness, I highly recommend a food drop, and you can do a food drop through them. That's basically where you only have to carry, like, say, half of your food, and then they'll bring you your other half of your food to you. You can get a bunk for $25. You can get a private room for $50, and you can tent for $12. And of course, some of the cost varies based off how many people are in a room and things like that. But all of these hostels have their own website, so you can check it out to find out actual cost and things. So the last fave hostel on my list is Hostel of Maine. It's located in Carrabassett Valley, Maine, and it's run by Justin and Melanie. One of the things that made, or a few things I should say, that made this a favorite hostel for me was the fact that it is basically an upscale log cabin. It's super nice. And you felt like you were staying in one of these log cabins that you go to when you're on vacation. They do serve a continental breakfast, which is pretty nice. There's a common area which has a really nice fireplace. It has a full kitchen, and their kitchen was pretty amazing. It's an industrial style kitchen. It was so nice. So you have full access to that. They do have laundry. They do it for you, though. It's not a do-it-yourself. They do it for you. They do have loaner clothes available. They do have a small resupply, and it's actually a pretty good resupply, and it was not overpriced either. So I thought it was pretty good. I thought they had, like, just exactly the right types of things a hiker would want for a resupply. They will come pick you up at the trail and take you back to the trail, and then they will take you into a town or a post office if you need to. There is actually a market that is pretty close by. I want to say it's about a half a mile away, so you could walk to the market for resupply. And then there was a restaurant that was nearby, but it was closed at the time I was there. There was 2 separate bunk rooms with multiple bunks in it. They were actually really nice bunks, pretty comfortable. One of the things that I loved about the bunks is each individual bunk had its own plug and its own lamp, so you could do your own, charge your devices without having to share it with other people. There was a couple of other hostels on the trail that had that same setup, where if you had a bunk, you had your own charger and your own lamp, and that was Station 19E and Boots Off. They both had that same kind of setup, which I thought was pretty cool. They also had, in one of the bunk rooms, the other bunk room was a different type of shower, but in the one I was in, it actually had a whirlpool tub. So that was pretty cool. And they sell, like, little bath bombs you can buy. So I got to do this whole, like, little spa thing, and that was pretty cool. It was really neat that they had that whirlpool tub. So that is one of the reasons it made it to my favorite list. When I went on their website, it looks like currently it's listed at $45 for a bunk. And they do have private rooms. They are pretty expensive. Like, it looks like it starts at $145 a night for a private room. I do think that accommodates multiple people. I was trying to keep my list not too long, but I have to at least mention these other hostels because I really did enjoy my stay at them. The people were incredibly nice. Your home in the woods bed and breakfast. It's located in Blairsville, Georgia. It's run by Paul and Bonnie Hayward. Now, at the time I was there, I got a much cheaper rate than they list on their website. I don't know if it's because, I told them I'm a thru hiker, and they basically run their facility like a bed and breakfast. I recommend that if you're looking to stay there and you're hiking the trail, when you call them, just tell them you're a thru hiker and see what kind of rate they give you. At the time I was there, I was lucky enough that there wasn't a lot of other hikers there, so I got a room to myself, and they served me not only breakfast but dinner as well. I don't know if that's something they do all of the time, but they were super nice people, so I had to mention them for sure because I did really enjoy my stay. That was the first hostel I stayed at when I got on the trail. Another hostel that I really enjoyed my time at and felt very welcomed at was the Blue Ridge Hiking Company, The Trailer. It is located in Hot Springs, North Carolina, and at the time I stayed there, it was being managed by Candy Mama and Sheriff. It's the Dowd duo. They have their own YouTube channel. And they were just so nice. She keeps the place amazingly clean. They pretty much have all of the stuff you need. They are located right on the trail, which is pretty awesome. The actual hostel is owned by Jennifer Farr Davis, who owns the Blue Ridge Hiking Company. And it is basically a bunk house style, so there is no private space there, but they have laundry and showers and everything you can need. And then another hostel is the Appalachian Trail Lodge. It's in Millinocket, Maine. I definitely highly recommend that, even if you're going northbound. If you're going to be, you get to that point in Maine and you're going to be summiting Katahdin, the weather is bad, contact the Appalachian Trail Lodge. Stay there. They will shuttle you to Katahdin Stream Campground. You can get a bunk for $25. And basically, that's that they have shuttles. If you're going southbound, they do food drops, and their food drops are pretty inexpensive. They have laundry, Wi-Fi, they have a full kitchen, and they actually have a gear shop. And it's run by Old Man and Navigator, who thru hiked in 2006. And just super nice people, and it's a great place to stay, I think, whether you're going northbound or southbound. Another hostel I have to mention is Barn Door Hostel. It's located in Rumney, New Hampshire. It has Wi-Fi, showers, loaner clothes, a full kitchen. They will shuttle you. They'll pick you up at the trail, take you back to the trail. You can get a bunk for like $20. They actually do have some private rooms that are $50. Super nice people, super accommodating, and they do take pets. Truthfully, it was tough to try to pick favorites because I had such great experiences at all the hostels, and they all had their own like little unique thing about them. So I just had to kind of force myself a little bit. I don't think you're going to go too wrong, at least my experience from my thru hike. It was pretty awesome. I did stay in a lot of hotels on the Appalachian Trail. I ended up staying in 32 hotels along the AT. A lot of those was due to slack packing, but more so because of the year I hiked, 2020, a lot of the hostels were closed. So a lot of the towns I went into, I ended up having to choose a hotel over a hostel. And sometimes it was because of ailments, my knee issues, poison ivy, things like that. And then a lot of it was I just really wanted to treat myself. I want to just give you a few of what were my favorite hotels on the trail and why I think it's worth the splurging to go stay at these places. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go over this list. The first hotel that I think is definitely worth a splurge is the Amicalola Falls Lodge. It's located in Dawsonville, Georgia. Is the stop before you hit Springer Mountain. If you choose to do the approach trail, then you're going to basically be pretty close to this lodge there. I just think it's a great way to start out your hike. Me and my husband spent the night there before I started the next day on my thru hike. I wanted to do the approach trail, and I just think it's a beautiful lodge. It has big open windows. There's a nice restaurant, and I just thought it was kind of a great way to start off my hike. I think if you're going southbound and you're ending your hike in Georgia, I think it's a great way to finish it off as well. Another hotel, although possibly could be considered a hostel, although it does accommodate just regular guests for the most part, so I've kind of listed it as a hotel. But it's the Fontana Village Resort. And of course, it's located in Fontana, North Carolina. It is right before you enter the Smokies. The resort has Wi-Fi, it has a restaurant. They even have a small resupply for hikers, and actually I thought it was pretty good, and it is not overpriced. They do offer a shuttle that will come pick you up, so you don't have to necessarily, you could walk there, but they do have a shuttle that will come pick you up, so you don't have to do that. And then they have a shuttle that will take you to the post office or to do laundry, because they do not have laundry at the lodge, but they do have a shuttle that will take you to do laundry. They're just very hiker friendly. They're just very accommodating to hikers. At the time I stayed there, I got a hiker rate of $75. I did get a pretty good hiker rate, because if you look at the cost on their website, it's a lot more. So this hotel is definitely what I would consider a splurge hotel. If you're wanting to just go all out and splurge, this is definitely a hotel to do it at, and I completely think it's worth it. This one's located in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's called the Appy Lodge. Now, I was very fortunate, and I had some wonderful friends, Angela and Christy, who paid for my stay there. The Appy Lodge is basically built around the theme of the Appalachian Trail. So all of the rooms have names about the trail, names from the trail, whether it's gaps or actual trails or mountains, things like that. It does have laundry available. It's coin operated. Of course, coffee. There's coffee available in your room, things like that. There's also a microwave and refrigerator in your room. They do offer breakfast. Right now, of course, with COVID, everything is grab and go, but they still have a breakfast. There is a hot tub, which at the time I got to stay there, I got to use it. It was awesome. There's a pool, and there are plenty of restaurants nearby, plenty of places to eat. February and early March, you can get a rate as low as $79. Now, once season hits, it goes up quite a bit, and it goes up to like starting at $134. Those rooms accommodate up to 4 people, so you could certainly divide that cost up with other hikers and share a room, and your cost would be a lot lower, and it would totally be worth it because it is a very nice stay. I do not know if they offer a hiker discount, and I do not know if they offer shuttles. I do think that's something that would be awesome if they would consider starting to do. Another favorite hotel for me on the trail that I think is worth a stop is the Iron Horse Station. It's located in Hot Springs, North Carolina. We stopped there when I was initially getting off of the trail, and it is run by Gary and Karen. They are so nice, they love hikers, so friendly, so accommodating. It is right on the trail, so you don't need a shuttle or anything like that. They actually have a restaurant, a very delicious, good restaurant at the station with a tavern. They do have Wi-Fi. All of the rooms have their own private baths, and actually one of the rooms has a whirlpool tub. And the rates start at $85 and go up. So I didn't think it was too bad for how nice of a place it is. Now, whether or not they give any kind of higher rate, I do not know. You would have to contact them and ask. But I can say that having to get off the trail, it made it a lot easier for me being able to stay there for a couple of days when my husband came and got me. It made the transition easier. Another great hotel to splurge at is located in Pawling, New York, and it's called the Station Inn. I actually ended up staying there for a couple of days because of the poison ivy I had all over me. It doesn't necessarily have like a whole lot of extra amenities, but it just felt so luxurious staying there. They do have these really nice bathrobes, which I ended up utilizing to go do my laundry. And although they don't have laundry at the place, it is basically right across the street. And of course, there's plenty of restaurants nearby and places you could resupply. They do have Wi-Fi, but just overall, it was just, I don't know. I just felt like I was in a lap of luxury when I stayed there. If you go on their website, it looks pretty high priced. I mean, like it gets up close to $200. When I stayed there, I called, and they are very hiker friendly, and they gave me a hiker rate. And I believe if I remember correctly, it was like $129, which is still pretty high. It's still pretty high for a hiker, but if you're splurging, I actually didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was New York, and New York is definitely going to be more expensive than some of the other places along the trail. And I didn't think that was that bad for how nice of a place it is. So if you're a hiker, and if you wanted to share a room with another hiker, then, you know, you could split the cost and it's not too bad. But I think it's worth the splurge. Save up enough money that you can splurge at least a couple of times on the trail, because I think it really helps mentally, or at least it did me. Another fave hotel that I stayed at was unexpected. I hitched a ride into the town of Lyme, New Hampshire, and ended up booking a room at a place called Dowd's Country Inn. And I was so incredibly surprised at how hiker friendly they are. They were so nice. It was a very nice place to stay. I thought it would be way out of my budget, but I ended up getting a rate at the time I stayed there for $85 a night, and I was pretty shocked by that. And I don't know if it was because I did tell her I was hiking the trail. They also did my laundry for me, which I thought was super nice. It is right there in Lyme, has a post office, so if you did want to send a resupply there, you could. There is a little general store there to do a resupply. They were super friendly at the general store, and they actually had all the things you could need for a resupply. The Dowd's Country Inn will also shuttle you. I did not know this at the time that I hitched a ride into Lyme, but they actually did take me back to the trail, and I found out that they would pick you up and take you back to the trail. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And of course, they do have Wi-Fi, and there is a restaurant and pub on the premises, which was really good, and the food was amazing. And my last splurging hotel recommendation is located in Norwich, Vermont, and that is the Norwich Inn. It is basically like an old Victorian style setting. The rooms are all this old Victorian style. I actually got a room with a 4-poster bed. What makes it not only one of my favorite hotels, but just a recommendation to someone who's hiking and would like to splurge a little, is one thing, it's right on the trail, so you don't have to worry about shuttles or things like that. There is a restaurant on the premises with a pub. When I called, so if you go online and you look at the prices of this place, it's really expensive, and it's easy to go, oh gosh, there's absolutely no one can afford this place. But they really do work with hikers. At the time I stayed there, when I went online, the cost to stay in the rooms were almost $200, and I was like, that's just, there was nowhere to actually stay in that vicinity. This was basically coming out of Hanover, and going Hanover, New Hampshire, and then going into Vermont. And all of the rooms in that area are really expensive. Well, when I called and I told her I was a hiker, she gave me a rate of $129, and I thought that was pretty freaking good considering how expensive all of the rooms were there, and even on their website. It wasn't like they had to give a discount, but because I was a hiker, they want to help hikers out, and so I thought that was incredibly nice. Not only was it $129, but they also give you a free beer, or at least they did. She told me, hey, that includes a free beer. So I was like, hey, that's awesome. They were super friendly, super nice. There is a post office nearby, a little general store to resupply at, and they have Wi-Fi. And I just think it's a very unique stay. It's something you're probably not typically going to be able to do. And if you've saved up the money and trying to change your life around to go do a through hike or even do some section hiking, I just think, why not see some really cool places? And I would imagine this is not a regular place that most people are going to end up staying. Like I said, just the style of the hotel and the rooms and the way they looked. But even though the room was like an old Victorian style, they still had TV. And even though I did not necessarily mention all of the places that I stayed at, I can truthfully and honestly tell you that I did not have one bad experience at any place I stayed. Everyone was so incredibly kind, accommodating, helpful, and just showed that they really enjoyed and loved having hikers. There is not one place that I would not recommend staying at. But these were just some of my favorites, and hopefully that helps you out a little bit if you're planning to do a through hike or maybe doing some section hiking or just wanting to visit one of these areas. I am going to go ahead and below in the description, I'm going to list all of the hostels that I stayed at so that you can see where I stayed and have an idea. Like I said, a lot of hostels were closed in 2020, so it will not encompass all of the hostels that are available on the trail. A lot of hotels that I stayed at, I just Googled and found nearby. They're just chain hotels. They're not necessarily anything unique, I would say, to the AT. But there was a few hotels that I did not mention, were still great places to stay, and I will list those in the description below as well. I do have more of my favorite things on the Appalachian Trail videos coming very soon. I'll be doing one of these each week. And up next, I'm going to do a video on my favorite towns that I stayed at along the trail and what unique things about those towns that I enjoyed. So until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.